All right, before we jump in, just a quick but really important reminder. This breakdown is for educational purposes only. It is absolutely not financial advice. We're going to dig into the mechanics of what's happening, but you should always do your own research.
Okay, let's get right to it. We are looking at something you almost never see happen, a convergence of 4 massive, historic milestones, all hitting in the very same week. This isn't just about celebrating one win, it's about understanding what happens when everything clicks into place at the exact same time.
That's right, you're looking at 4 different countdowns, all ticking towards 0, and they're all set to go off within the next 7 days or so. Now, this isn't just some random coincidence. This is the calculated result of 146 days of building, all leading to this one single, incredibly critical moment.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to break down each of the 4 milestones one by one. We've got the yield engine, the proof of concept, the holder conviction, and huge shift in supply. And then, and this is the important part, we're going to put all those pieces together to show you how this convergence creates this powerful compounding effect.
First up, let's talk about the foundation. This is the heart of the whole thing, the protocol's revenue system. We're talking about the yield engine milestone. This is all about building permanent, productive infrastructure. So the first milestone is a big one. The Treasury is about to own its 10,000th bond. Now look, this isn't just some nice round number. Every single one of these is a permanent asset that generates real yield from trading fees 24/7. They never expire, they never run out. This is about building a permanent capacity to generate revenue.
And this is where you really start to see the power of that infrastructure. Just look at the scale of this yield engine. Even if we're in a bear market, we're talking about almost $200,000 a year in yield. In just normal market conditions, that jumps to over $325 grand. And this isn't some hopeful guess. This is the math based on the machine that has been built.
Okay, so the infrastructure is there. It's big. But the real question is, does it actually work as designed? And that brings us right to our second pillar, validating the whole thing. This is the proof of concept.
And here it is. Here is the proof. The second milestone is crossing $100,000 in real, actual, cumulative yield. This isn't a simulation, it's not a projection. It is $100,000 in cold hard cash, while in trading fees, earned by the Treasury's bonds and collected by the protocol.
But you know what's even more important? This thing is accelerating. Check out this timeline. To get the first $50,000 in yield, it took 84 days, but the last 10,000, it took just 8 days. That tells you the engine isn't just working, it's getting stronger and more efficient as it grows.
So, the big takeaway here is that hitting that $100,000 mark officially moves this protocol out of the what-if phase. It's no longer just a cool experiment, it's a demonstrated, repeatable revenue engine, and it has the receipts to prove it.
All right, on to our third milestone. We've got a proven yield engine. Now let's look at what the holders are doing, because their behavior has a massive impact on the token supply. This is what we're calling the conviction milestone.
The magic number here is 3 million staked tokens. And what that means, as you can see, is that a truly staggering 78% of the total supply is now considered protected. It's either staked, it's been burned, or it's locked up in liquidity. That leaves only 22% of the entire supply freely available on the market, which is a record low.
And get this conviction wasn't built when things were easy. This chart shows that the amount staked more than doubled. It went from 1.24 million to almost 3 million during the absolute toughest stress tests the protocol has ever faced. While huge amounts of tokens were being released, what did holders do? They chose to lock up even more supply. That's some serious belief in the long-term vision.
And that leads us perfectly into the final pillar. The conviction of stakers locked down the existing supply. Now we have to talk about the flow of new supply. This is the supply shift, and it basically means the end of emission pressure.
This chart says it all, really. The protocol was designed with emissions that decay over time. At its peak, it was pumping over 381,000 new tokens into the supply every single day. On day 152, that number goes to 0, a full 100% hard stop.
And here's the strategic importance of that. The protocol's defense mechanism, the buy and burn that's funded by all that yield, it was designed to fight against that daily sell pressure from emissions. Well, now the defense is stronger than ever, but the offense it was built to fight just vanishes. The system flips from being inflationary to being purely absorptive.
Okay,
Let's recap. We've got a massive yield engine. We have proof that it works. We have a supply that is historically locked down, and we have the end of all new emissions. Now, for the most important question, what happens when all of these things arrive at the exact same moment? This is the compounding convergence.
Right. These are not four separate things happening on their own little islands. They are all deeply connected parts of one system. So let's trace exactly how they feed into each other to create something way, way bigger than the sum of its parts. It kicks off this incredible virtuous cycle. So first, those 10,000 bonds are cranking out massive, proven yield. Second, that yield is used to fund the buyback and burn, the BBB. Third, that BBB goes out to buy tokens, but it's buying against that tiny 22% liquid supply, which means every dollar it spends has a much bigger impact. And fourth, all of this is happening in an environment with zero new sell pressure from releases. Each piece makes the next piece stronger, creating this flywheel that just keeps getting faster.
And this, right here, is the key. For the first time in this protocol's entire history, all four of these conditions are true at the same time. A fully scaled yield engine, with proven output, buying against minimal liquid supply, with zero emission headwinds. This exact combination has literally never existed before now.
So you see, this convergence isn't the finish line. It's the starting pistol for a whole new phase. This is the moment that the compounding flywheel hits its full speed. From this day forward, the bond count is only going to grow past 10,000. The yield is going to compound past the 100,000, and the burns are just going to keep stacking up on this incredible foundation that's just been set.
10,000 bonds, $100,000 in yield, 3 million staked, 0 releases, 4 milestones, 1 week, 146 days of building, and now they all arrive at once. Not because the market was nice, but because the infrastructure matured, because emission decay finally reached its destination, because conviction was proven to be real through every single test. 4 conditions, all true simultaneously, for the first time. That is the convergence. And the compounding that follows, well, that's just getting started.
As always, thank you for joining us for this analysis, and please remember, this is not financial advice. The future is always uncertain, so never ever invest more than you're willing to lose, and make sure you do your own research.